Juggalos in recovery. Juggalos in recovery. Juggalos in recovery.
Hours before the meeting.
Yeah. I probably should do a little bit more of that to get more people engaged on a Sunday, Because there's probably a lot of people just sitting around not doing shit. Because right now it's what, 10?
My time is 1:41.
Yeah, 1:40. So probably a lot of people sitting around not doing shit on a Sunday, All right, so I got the recording going. I don't do the live because it's broken. I haven't had a chance to troubleshoot that yet. But anyway, so the story I found is online, just a random dude. And when I read it, it kind of just resonated with me a little bit. So it starts out. I never really felt like I had a choice in social situations or the people I was around. I couldn't really sort through who I actually wanted to be around because I felt as I was just along for the ride and I wasn't really in charge. When you're an alcoholic and you're not sober, you feel trapped. It was just one blackout after another, messing up relationships, apologizing for things, and it was pretty much that way for 10 years. I look back and I am amazed at how long I was okay with settling for that life. My friends right now wouldn't tolerate me drinking. It would be very strange for them. Nobody would be okay with it. That also is a product of the way you're finally able to filter out people in your life who aren't very supportive and aren't very healthy for you. Those people will kind of drop anyway as you get sober, and now I am left with the good people in my life. And that's a continual process your entire life. I think it's important to be proud of being sober and to share your story just like I talk about anything else going on in my life. This is part of me that there are a lot of things I love in this world, and sobriety is one of them. So, I like to talk about that very openly. I don't think it's for everybody, and I totally respect that. But for me, I think it's important as a sober person to share the experience and how good it can be, because a lot of people think we just kind of hide. Like you get sober, then you're just detached from the rest of the world. And I don't want people to think like that. That's not sobriety to me, and it's certainly not my experience. I feel more connected with people and with others than I ever could imagine. For me, it was a complete restart of my life. I'm seeing things in a new way. I go back to old locations and old friendships and old relationships, and I'm just experiencing them in entirely new ways. And it's so refreshing to be able to for completely present for the people and experiences that I wasn't for so long. So the first part of that, choosing your social situations and, you know, going through blackout after blackout. And then, it's very true. Like the people that you hang with and the people that you're associated with impact, your life. And, to think that you're stuck with those people and you don't have a choice is not, accurate whatsoever. You can definitely change your situation, change the people you're around. It might be hard, but like in this story, he had friends who don't tolerate him drinking. I don't think that they would like tolerate it. You know what I mean? They wouldn't be happy about it if I started drinking and using in front of them and stuff, obviously. And um, you know, I would run into opposition now versus in the past where they would have just been okay with it. And then he goes on to talk about sharing his story. For me, it's definitely something that I do, but I only do kind of when asked or when it comes up. I just don't go telling random people out of the blue, that I'm sober and that, this and that. So I asked to come up in conversation, but I'm not afraid of doing it, and I'm not ashamed of it anymore, like I was. And then he's right. You don't have to hide and detach from the rest of the world. Maybe at first you have to detach from the world a little bit. That was my experience, but it does get better. And then, the end of it, just being sober does restart your life. I'm able to go back to those old experiences and old places and stuff and just kind of live it through a different set of eyes. So yeah, for me, the story really resonated just because he hit on a lot of topics in there that were dead on for me, and I think a lot of people, if they were to just look at it with like an open mind. So, and that's really all I got on that story. What you got? Anything comes up to mind when you look at
I
that?
mean, yeah, I think yeah, a lot of it resonated, especially towards the end of my drinking and drugging. You know, a lot of blackouts, a lot of people I hung with were just full blown addicts, whether they knew it or not. So of course they co-signed my bullshit, and then the people that really cared about me wouldn't. And even to this day wouldn't tolerate me if I went out to start drinking and drugging. You know what I mean? Because they knew me when I was out there bad.
Right.
And in my sobriety, I don't limit myself. Working a 12-step program and being in AADA, whatever. It tells me in the big book, like, I can freely go where any normal person goes as long as I'm in fit spiritual condition, right? So if I'm working a program and I'm doing what I got to do, I can go to any environment at any given time, and it's not going to make me go do the things I used to do.
Right.
Like, I definitely wouldn't have been able to gather sober if I didn't have a good program, put it that way.
No. Yeah.
'Cause that's
Yeah.
that's an intense environment.
Yeah. One of the things I ran into was just dudes walking around with signs, where you could buy like anything you want for like $5 or whatever, $20, and it was pretty fucking wild to see that. But I was more focused on those things that like the more sober activities, like the sober people. Like I found you there. I found the recovery tent. Like went to the like wet t-shirt contests and stuff like that. And even though it was wild, it was still kind of a sober experience. It was an experience that you can do sober, and there was no like you know temptation to do anything there really. So yeah,
Yeah,
the
I
gathering
mean,
was definitely a weird experience for sure.
the signs weren't nothing. I just got offered free shit so much the whole time I was there because I'm a friendly person. And they'd be like, "Hey, you want
Oh,
this or you want that?" And I'm just like, "Nah, bro, I'm good. Actually, like, I'm sober as fuck, bro. If I do that, like, you don't want to see me do that." And they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I'll break out in handcuffs by the time before the gathering's over. Just like that's
right,
how bad I am." They're like, "Oh yeah, no, I got friends in recovery, or I had a friend that passed away, or you know what I'm saying?" Because I'm just openly sharing my story, or
right.
whatever. And a lot of people are just like apologetic, and I was like, "Yeah, don't worry about apologizing. Like, you have fun. I'm having fun watching you have fun. Like."
Yeah,
So it was kind of dope, in that aspect. But like I said, if I wasn't working a program, it'd have been so easy to just go, yeah, sure, you know.
right, right. I don't think I got offered anything for free, man. That's pretty wild. And if I did though, like you said, I it wouldn't have been that big a deal in the end, for me anyway. But I was watching some dude. He was in the recovery tent, and talking about how he wants to get sober and stuff, which is good. And then like a couple hours later, I see him like just chugging a whatever it was, like a hard lemonade or whatever, and just passing out and just being super ridiculously fucked up. And it was like, um, yeah, he was tempted and he did not survive. You know what I mean? I don't think he was in a program. He was trying. I think having that tent there plants that seed for those people. So maybe this next year, maybe I'll see him again and he'll be fucking completely sober and in the program. That'd be dope.
Yeah, I mean, we do our part there, but like, right, if we are just like, think about it when we were using like how often like we wanted to quit, but we didn't have the tools, we didn't have the network, we didn't have a program. We had the honest desire, but for some reason, out of our control, as soon as it's in front of us, next thing you know, just like the big book talks about, we're without defense. We're just somebody offers, we do it. No matter how much we know we should quit, want to quit, whatever. Basically, until you like actually to somebody else in recovery and sit down and actually get into the program, you're kind of just fucked.
Right.
It really does take one of us working with another one of us to make it actually stick. And that's only if you're like honest and ready for it, you know?
Right. Right.
I've walked so many people through the steps and they go back out. That's just because they weren't ready yet, you know?
Yeah.
Something happened, you know? They weren't fully honest with themselves. They weren't fully honest about their past. They weren't fully ready to let go of it. You know, they still had something in their brain saying eventually I'm going to win. Or if I just stay sober this long, maybe things will be different or whatever it is, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, man. That's, you know, oh, we got someone trying to join.
It's Josie.
It's her friend.
Uba.
Let's see. Yeah, I got him. Let's see. There he is.
Uva.
What's up, dude? Welcome to the meeting, my friend. Says he's a visitor in this little box, but he might be on mute. Anyway, dude, if you can hear us, we're just talking about this story I read and basically just, you know, sharing like your experience with trying to get sober, being sober. There was a lot in the story, but it just boils down to like finding new people to you know support you that are supportive of your sobriety, and you know just changing your environment for a little bit. It's hard at first, you know, you might even become alone for a little bit, but it is worth it in the end. And then once you're in the program, you have like a different perspective on things. And yeah, so we're just talking about different stuff like that. um, so if you can hear us, you can chime in anytime you like. I do have a hard stop. I do got to get out of here in 6 minutes. I got some family coming over. We're doing a potluck thing, and not necessarily for me, but if it is part of that, I did get 5 years finally. So that was yesterday, and
Congratulations. Yeah, I
yeah,
remember
man,
saying that Saturday or Friday.
yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
made it.
I told you
I
you're
made
gonna
it.
make it. I told you you're gonna
Yeah,
make it. Like if I make it, you know you're going home to the wife and the kids. Ain't shit going on right now.
right. Yep, and it was a damn good night, man. You were right, you know, and I needed that meeting, man. Like to hear, like I said, your words that night, dude, were was awesome. It gave me kind of that boost of like confidence and shit that I needed. It was, yeah, it was a good meeting, man. So
Hey man, you know what I've noticed, at least down here in the rooms, man, it's between that 5 to 10 year marker that a lot of people like we were talking about, grow stagnant, quit doing what was working, you know, the work and everything else takes priority. They got that, oh, I got this, I've been for this long, you know, and they're back out again. Seen it
right.
so many times, it's crazy.
Oh, there he goes. He left. He probably had some audio issues or something because we couldn't hear him at all. But yeah,
Yeah, I
man,
don't
you
know.
know, I think it was weird for me that fourth year. It just didn't seem like, I don't know, five is just like, I don't know, more of a round number in my brain or something, because I'm in a lot more peaceful place now. I really wanted to get that 5 year, you know, and it was like a struggle. And you're right. I think like between 5 and 10, because 10's more of a round number for people, right? I don't know. It's just, yeah, it's gonna be weird, man. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes.
As long as you keep doing what's been working and you continue to grow and seek other avenues of spiritual growth, like nothing stops you
Hell yeah.
except for yourself.
Yep. All right, I'll cut out this recording here. It was good shit. Let's see, recording. Hopefully they get these and they put them on YouTube, because I have no idea. Okay, so this story I pulled off the internet. I mean, if you just look at like ways to handle the holidays sober, there's going to be a ton of shit that comes up on the internet it's helpful. It was helpful to me when I was reading it. So, but I picked a story, and it's the title is the idea of a sober holiday sounded anything but merry. And this person's talking about Christmas, and I had not necessarily a holiday that related to this particular story, but it did relate to me in a way. But so she says, my first Christmas, my work was gearing up for a big holiday party. One of the founders of my startup company had decided the goal was to get everyone drunk. He was thoughtful in his approach. I think he explained as we were walking to get coffee one winter afternoon, it's important for me to drink the most so I can lead by example. This way, no one will feel uncomfortable letting loose. The night of the party, I watched my coworkers morph from available employees into party animals, hitting the makeshift dance floor in our basement office with the kind of gusto reserved for raves. When the co-founders made their way into the middle of the room with a bottle of tequila and began pouring it into employees' mouths, I pretended they already served me. I left early. When I walked outside, it started to snow. The next day, a friend texted me to see how the party was. It was objectively not fun, and I hid in the bathroom multiple times, but I'm so happy I'm not hungover today. It wasn't much, but it was enough. In the movies, the holiday season is a time to tell truth, fall in love, make out in the snow, and I spent my first holiday season watching movies with my parents and cousins, eating cheese and avoiding parties. The thought of standing in the middle of a room, stone cold sober, while other people coupled up to kiss at midnight around was too unpleasant to imagine. I rang in the new year, clinging to my sobriety and with very little holiday cheer to spare. There were some experiences I found surprisingly fun when I was newly sober. Dancing, concerts, vacations. The holidays were not one of them. But that would not be the case for very long. So that's her story. And basically how I related to that was early in my sobriety, I had a work function that I was scheduled to go to. And I knew there was going to be drinking there because historically they have a lot of drinking going on at my company parties, and there's stories about people getting really wasted and whatnot. And so I knew it was going to be there. And when I got to this party, I saw the CEO and a bunch of vice presidents and stuff just to encourage everybody to drink. It's a small company. They just were encouraging people to do it. Come on in, get fucked up, and it was, the best of intentions. They're trying to get people to loosen up and, trying to get people to, just drink and have a good time or whatever. But I made it through that party without drinking and just watching everybody. I never really had to turn down any drinks, which was cool, but I didn't have to really. I don't know. Once I got through it, though, it felt really, really good. I didn't hide in the bathroom. I wasn't doing any of that. And I didn't expect them to not drink because I was not a drinker or whatever. But it was really cool. The feeling that I got after I was done with that party and that I was actually, got through it sober was amazing. I'll never forget how it felt to actually get through that party. And I think that applies with holidays too. Easter holiday, I just got off a meeting where this guy was talking about how his whole family is at his house and it's awful. And, they're just always talking shit and talking and drinking and doing, whatever they want without regard for anybody else. And that's how a lot of families are. But, he's getting through it in his own way. And I think there's healthy ways to get through it. And now that I'm, pretty sober, I think holidays and all that are pretty fun for me, and it's not a bad thing anymore. So I look forward to the holidays. Easter's not particularly my favorite holiday. Actually, I'm not really religious at all. So Easter, the whole Jesus thing and everything just doesn't really appeal to me at all, but it is nice to spend time with family and stuff if you can, or just maybe treat yourself to a nice dinner or whatever it takes to make you happy on a day like today. So, yeah, that's all I got. You got anything you want to share, Josie? Anything you got coming to mind on that?
I would say Easter doesn't have to be about church and stuff. It's about the damn bunny too. And I would say, yeah, definitely say technically at times it's easier for just holidays and events. I would say particularly for myself, I would say I've been coming to terms with actually not being around anyone because it's easier. Then I don't have to deal with the chaos and nonsense and drama that they all start, that other people start, or things that they bring up of the hearsay of things that have happened, that everyone has their own expectations, their own little thoughts of how things have happened or things went with certain people. Like, I'm enjoying being away from the drama of everyone.
Yeah, 100%. I could, yeah, for sure. And then, if you're, in early sobriety or just whatever, that's kind of like what I would recommend to people too, is to kind of do what you're doing, like be away from that drama and stuff, because it is a huge pain in the ass. And, I recommend that at least for a little while, and then maybe down the road.
Yeah, I would say even just in general, because I'm one of those people when technically more of how others, like close to me or anyone, when they mess up, technically I end up being guilty by association and having to listen to all the nonsense. So that's kind of why,
Right.
no matter what, I like to stick away from all of it because it doesn't
Yeah.
change with any of them, sadly.
Yeah.
Hopefully one day, but
Yeah.
who knows?
Yeah. I've moved away, and all of my family lives out east now, and I live in the west. And so, like, it's just me and my small family here, and they have very little to no drama for the most part. So it's kind of nice. But like spending it with my mom and stuff like that, it wasn't necessarily always fun for me back in the day. And, she had boyfriends and stuff that were just not, just not, something you really want to deal with, especially if you're like trying to get sober. The last thing you want to deal with is fucking idiots. Um, so, but I'm glad you came to the meeting today. I know, like you
Ye-
said, you were kind of struggling. So, yeah. Is there
Yep.
anything else that you want to like talk about, get off your chest, or anything like that? I can stop recording
I
too.
have no idea. I was gonna say I'm technically, my brain is mush after this week and everything.
Yeah, I get it. I get it. Well, just do like you did. I'll try to get back to you on Messenger. It's hard for me just because I got a lot of shit going on, but I'll try to, whenever anybody messages me. But if you message me, I'll try to do my best to help you out. But more or less, my advice is always, you got to take care of yourself first. If you feel yourself getting crazy and upset with people, and you just have to step back and just realize that they're not gonna, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I
They're
was
not.
more upset with myself and upset my shoulders not getting any better, and just finally realizing that I actually need to listen to everyone and freaking chill out.
Yeah, seriously, it's it. And I read something on Twitter today, which I don't really do Twitter, but I was just scrolling through it. Like Esham posted something, and he was like, I'm when anything bad happens, I just tell myself that, oh well, there's nothing I can do, because if it's not, yeah, I'm like summarizing it, but if it's not okay now, it will be okay later. It's, right
Yeah.
now it might seem shitty, but later it'll be good. So yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna stop recording. They can use that if they want. Nice short meeting. All right, so I picked this story offline, just because I didn't want to go into my bullshit. I'm still trying to sort through what I've been through, but it's a pretty good story what I have going for what I've just been through. So, but I picked this one offline. I think it'll start a good conversation around the topic that's in it. But it's titled "People Will Ask You Why You Don't Drink or Just Say Stupid Things to You About Not Drinking." So basically, it's a story about how this person managed to like go to functions and you know when they're asked why aren't they drinking, things like that, how they responded. But it says you are a mirror now, a flashlight of sobriety in a society that's laced with judgment that it's abnormal to abstain from alcohol. People will assume you drink and will be very curious about why you don't have a drink in your hand when they do. In the early days, I felt that it was my responsibility to answer the question, how come you aren't drinking? I didn't understand why. I didn't understand I could decline to answer or that it didn't make sense to everybody. My answer changed over time. For a period, it was, I'm an alcoholic, and that tended to silence anyone. And then they say they no longer identify themselves as an alcoholic. These days, unless I'm feeling generous, I simply say I don't drink and leave it at that. If people press that response, I'll either stare at them and hold an uncomfortable silence, which is enjoyable at some point, or just change the subject altogether. There are exceptions to this, like if someone alludes to their own struggle with alcohol, then I might offer up a bit more of my personal experience. That hasn't happened too often. With that being said, you may not be at a place where you want to know you might not be at a place where you want people to know you're not drinking, and that's okay. You still have options. You can provide an excuse like you're on antibiotics or you aren't feeling great or want to feel fresh or something that you have going on the next day. It's important to remember that you never have to give yourself up to make other people comfortable ever. Whether you're stating a one sentence response, I don't drink, or using a small excuse, the only thing to consider is whether you are comfortable and whether your boundaries are being upheld. I should also warn you that people will offer you drinks, you will have to turn them down. This is where you have to think like a vegan. A vegan doesn't eat meat to make other people feel better, and we don't do that with alcohol either. Lightly decline, and remember that just because they offered you a drink doesn't mean a gift drink doesn't mean you owe them anything but a polite declination of it. So a couple things with that story for me is one, like it's funny because like it's with alcohol, like people are going to offer it to you at parties and whatnot, or in social events or like at Christmas and shit like that. And unless you're still hanging around those the people that you were using with, like you're rarely going to run into somebody who like gives you shit for like not doing a line or like like nobody's going to think it's weird that you don't want to do coke with them in the bathroom. You know what I mean? At least I don't find that like to be a normal thing, but that's the first part of the story that kind of sticks out to me. It's like with alcohol, for me, it's like everywhere, and I'm cool with it now, but at first it was tough. The second thing is like this person said at the beginning, I would try to offer like an excuse, or I would say something along the lines of like, I just don't feel good, or I got some other shit going on tomorrow, whatever it was, it just make up some excuse. But I don't give a shit what anybody thinks now, and I just say, I don't drink. Or if I have a feeling that this person might be looking for help, I will tell them I'm an alcoholic, but I'm not doing it for anybody but myself. I was listening to since we're on the Juggalos in Recovery, I was listening to Violent J on the Thuggalo show, I think it was, or it was the other interview he did, but he just did 2 interviews, and one of them he was like, once you have the power to like not give a fuck what anybody thinks and truly not care what anybody thinks, like that's like ultimate power, like you're unstoppable. And that's super powerful once you stop caring. I mean, obviously, there's things that go along with it, but like just being yourself and just being you, and doing the right thing for you and your people, you know, you're unstoppable. You're powerful. It's a powerful thing to not give a shit what anybody else thinks. Um, you know, again, there's a lot more that goes to that. You can't just like do whatever you want and be a piece of shit and not care what anybody thinks. It's a different story. But anyway, so when people ask me, why I'm not drinking, that doesn't happen very often anymore because a lot of people just know my story and they know where I'm at. They'll even ask me for help, which is cool nowadays. But like in early sobriety, when people ask you, why aren't you drinking? Or if you run into that situation, why you're not using, you just fucking tell them. Like you can tell them whatever you want, but whatever it makes you feel comfortable. If telling them that you're an addict, alcoholic doesn't make you comfortable, then make some shit up. Who cares? So, with that being said, I'll open it up to you guys. I think that's a pretty good topic of conversation. I mean, it happens, in the society we're in. So what do you guys think?
I would say technically how you like giggled about, the one you don't get asked not to do certain drugs or things in the bathroom. I would say, yeah, I living in New Hampshire, you get asked the strangest questions about drugs, and technically I would say sometimes it ends up being more that than even the alcohol. Like it can be scary.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, it's maybe just the world I'm in now. It doesn't get offered up to me now, but yeah, that's, I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess it's funny to me. like
Yeah,
you don't want
it's
to do
funny, like,
cocaine in the
that's why
bathroom.
I'd say this area is, like, kinda it's fucked up, it does happen.
Yeah,
Can even agree with that one a little bit.
right. No, I feel you. Yeah, the area you're in, I live in a middle of nowhere, so yeah. Somebody else is gonna say something too on that. They agreed with you.
I had issues with drinking for a while. I had friends that didn't really understand what it is to be an alcoholic. I had a friend one time I tried to explain to him that, I'm an alcoholic. I had to quit because of my pain meds, and I can't just have the one drink with him, because then I'm going to want to go buy more drinks and shit. So try to explain to him, I'm an alcoholic. I had to quit. He didn't really quite get that. I still ended up drinking that night with him. That was a while back. But some people, they don't, I mean, unless you come from that place of like, I can't stop, it's fucking up my life, I need to stop and I can't stop. Unless you come from a place like that, you don't really understand what it is to be an addict or an alcoholic. You just sometimes can't quite get that across to everybody. But that's pretty much my go-to, is telling people that I'm an alcoholic and I had to stop because of my meds. And now, like, legitimately, they drug test me because of my meds. So yeah, alcohol stays in your system for 2 weeks. It's a long time.
Yeah, I knew it stayed in for a period of time. I didn't know how long.
About 12 days, it was still in my system.
Wow. Yeah, I get that shit from like my mom and stuff. Like when I talk to her every now and again, and she's like, "You're still doing, your program? That's weird, And it's like, yeah, I'm an alcoholic. I got to continuously work on this shit. I go to one meeting a week. I don't do like a lot, but like I still have to work on the shit. And she's one of those people that just don't understand it. Like must be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, unless you haven't actually gone through that yourself, I don't think it's something you could ever really make someone understand.
Right. King, what's up with you, man? What, you got any thoughts on that, or how's your shit been going?
I'm not sure I really have any thoughts on that, really.
Yeah.
Like,
things going good with you, man?
Yeah, things are going.
That's good.
Same old.
Yeah. So I thought about you too when I was listening to this podcast shit that was going on. The Violent J did 2 of them, and one of them, I think it was the Juggalos show. You could find him, but he was talking about like if you want to go to the gathering and like you really, really want to go, like just fucking go, like figure it out. Like he said, in the way he said it was a lot probably better than the way I'm saying it, but like there's a way to do it, and there's like you only get like one shot like in life at certain things. And like then he started talking about like You see a chick that you want, just like shoot your shot. Who gives a fuck if she says no, right? But like I thought about you, man. It's like if you really want to go, like you just fucking get there and the family will provide, is basically what he said, you know. So I just wanted to throw that. Yeah, if you haven't listened to those podcasts, man, that shit was like inspiring for the most part, man. That I was watching, and he looks sober. He looks more clear headed. He was super energetic in both these interviews. Like my kid watched him after we met him last year, and it was like he was super impressed that Jay's looking really good. So I recommend people to watch that shit because it's inspiring. For sure.
Yeah, when I did make it to the gathering, what was it? That was 2 months before the gathering, and I decided that I didn't have enough money to make it. I'm sitting there listening to the Wraith Shangri-La, and I just start crying because I realized that and this is before I quit drinking, that if I had just stopped fucking drinking last month, the amount of money that I blew on fucking liquor, I could make it to the gathering. So I fucking quit drinking for 2 months, worked my ass off, didn't really get a whole lot, but was able to scavenge up $440 and somehow made that shit fucking work. Got my ass all the way across country on that, and fucking made it to the gathering, man. And that was really just the attitude I had to have, is any means necessary. I mean, if it came down to it, I guess I'd have to carjack someone, tie them up in the woods, and make sure they didn't have any cell phone service for a couple days so I could get to Ohio. I had all sorts of plans, but the idea was just any means necessary. You got to have that fucking attitude, and you'll get there, man.
Right, for real. For real. Like me and my son have been hustling before he got sick. We spent 2 months solid just working on like doing extra jobs. We've been cleaning up people's yards because we live in the Pacific Northwest, and like the amount of shit that falls off the trees in where we're at.
Same here.
Yeah, it's crazy. So like, yeah, you get it. And so we were, charge $100 a yard to like do a really thorough clean on it, right? So we did a shitload of those. We did some roof cleans, and then where he got sick, we were painting. I do like kickboxing as like my sober activity, and I have like a gym that I go to that does like Muay Thai kickboxing. So anyway, they needed it to be painted because they put up some new walls and it's been fucked up for a while. And I just offered the guys like, look, I'll come in and paint it, and I'll paint it at like a lower amount for you. You just provide the paint and shit, and I'll just come in and paint it. I'll do it for labor or whatever. And that was $700 for one day's worth of work. We killed it. We made a shitload. I was able to pay for the plane tickets. We have to fly. I'm not driving. It's the same amount to fly that is to drive. And it's me and my kids, so I have to really take care of him. So, plane, hotel, tickets to get in, because we want the book and all that. You can get in for free, but all that shit's paid for just by the extra work that we've been doing. So where there's a fucking will, there's a way, man. And like, I don't know other people's situations and stories and where they're at, but that's how we did it. And we just put all our money in a jar and in Venmo, where people send their Venmo, and we just got it, just racked it up and made it happen. So we're going this year, and I'm fucking stoked. Like, yeah, I can't tell you how exciting it is, man, to go again.
Fuck, at some point I gotta start a swear jar. There I go.
Yeah, man.
That would be a
Get fucking rich.
You need a swear jar.
Get fucking rich.
Only other
but
people
you'd end up
putting
throwing money into your own swear jar, though, because you swear a lot too at times.
That's what I mean.
That's what he means.
Every time I swear, I gotta put something in the jar.
Yeah. So we got a big ass jug, like a plastic one, because you have to cut a hole in it to get like the dollars out, But like, this is the third year in a row that like right when we get back from the gathering, we just start throwing like our change and money into it, and then we build that up too. So it's like kind of a mix of things. But yeah, I recommend a jar, man. And if you and your family like can throw whatever you get into it throughout the year, like, and I know if you have a job where you make tips, like throw like a percentage of your tips in there. You know what I mean? It's just ideas, man, to get any of y'all to the gathering. I'll throw out every idea that I can come up with, because and I'm stoked. I can't wait to go. It's gonna be the shit. So
my brother said he can't make it. I was really excited to go with him, and that was kind of going to be my rock to help hold me accountable. I got to be honest. I'm not super excited about this year. I've been really sick lately. It's hard for me to walk around a lot. But I'm hoping that once I get there, I'm going to be living off the music. You know, if I put my headphones on, I can't feel my body so well. So once I get there, I won't be able to feel my body so well. I'll be able to walk around and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm having trouble getting excited for it this year, but I think I'm just bummed that my brother's not going to be able to make it with me. I mean, we were supposed to go to the Wicked Clowns from Outer Space tour back in fucking May before COVID and all of that shit shut them down. So we figured, oh, this is going to be it, the gathering that we make it to, you know?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. You know, once you get in there, like, you know, it sounds like you've been in this place before. Like, once you get down that hill, if you're going to stay inside the grounds, you'd be all right, man. It's pretty flat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you'd be able to walk
I
around.
kind of remember everything being uphill.
Yeah.
Depends.
Flat. Why are you guys trying to say that it's flat? I remember
It's
the
not.
years I
There's a
went. There's
huge pit
freaking
in the middle of
hills.
everything. Every stage is at the top of a hill. There's a huge pit in the middle that you have to climb down. And
I guess. Yeah. I mean,
I'll be fine. I'll get myself a walking stick.
I guess
like I said, I'm just bummed my brother's
for
not
me,
making it.
yeah, I guess for me, they're not really like hills. The one hill coming in fucking sucks. Like, because you're going in and out. That hill's super steep. But the rest is kind of, I guess, on an incline. I guess you guys are right. They are kind of up hills, but, you know, it's better than that one hill coming in. I don't know. I
Yeah.
just never really looked at the rest of it as being uphill, but yeah, you're probably right. It's fucking,
I'm gonna do everything to get there. I want to see Esham and Mastermind.
yeah. Fuck
Yeah,
yeah,
dude.
that's going to be so. Esham last year at like 2 a.m. was fucking sick. It was the coolest shit. Like, I don't know, man. It's like, and then this year is just going to be off the chain. I don't know how to explain it. Yeah, I'm super excited for that too. So.
Oh yeah. Oh, I forgot to mention you back. That number. That
Oh,
number
yeah.
I sent you. That's the That's one of the. That's the Ouija Mac number.
Yeah, so you sent it to me, and like normally when you get like a phone number or a link, it's like the dude's been hacked. So I like didn't click on it forever. Then I saw another post with the number in it, and I was like, oh, okay. So I didn't respond, man, because I thought you were hacked. I was like, I'm not gonna respond to this shit. You got hacked. And then yeah, I figured it out, man. So that's cool as fuck. That's funny. My son's been on that shit. All right, I'm gonna stop recording here. There we go. Here, but that kind of is a good topic too. Like when I first got sober, like I was overweight. I had type 2 diabetes. Like I didn't do any exercise or anything, and so I started, you know, kickboxing. And once I got into it and started doing it, like I was totally like out of my comfort zone, right? Like I'm working out in front of people, like I'm overweight, like I'm already self-conscious, you know. And so yeah, it was a huge stretch, but I just did it. I just kept doing it and kept doing it. Now I'm super comfortable in it, and I teach it every now and again. And you know, it definitely paid off to get out of that comfort zone and keep trying. You know, so yeah, it was definitely, you know, like you said, get out of that comfort zone and the gratitude part. You know, like when you're starting to feel shitty, and like Josie could probably, you know, feel this one too. Like when you're starting to feel shitty, you're just like in your thoughts about everything, like having that list of gratitude, you know, like I'm grateful for X, Y, and Z. Like it pulls you out of that mindset because you can't think of negative shit when you're trying to think of the positive, right?
Right. It's self-defeating.
Yeah, for sure. So I'll read this story here, then we can kind of talk about it. It's just something I found online. I take them from the grapevines. I take different stories. I tell some of my own. But this one was just something I picked out. So this is this dude named Wayne. He said, I started using at the age of 12 to escape and treat my mental illness. By the time I was 15, I had been kicked out of military school, arrested numerous times, tried every drug I could. I moved around to live with different relatives until no one was left. I continued down that road, ending up on the street at times, every once in a while, getting in enough trouble to get put on probation for a few years. Finally, in 2014, I was arrested by the DEA and sent to inpatient treatment and then a drug court program. This is when I found my turning point. I discovered that what it was to be in recovery and what it was to be of service to others. I continued down this path and found myself again. I am now a peer recovery coach and student. I have a GED, but since I got sober, I earned an associate's in addiction counseling. I love what I do. I love working with others and learning new things and advocating for the recovery community. I love being in recovery. I've never been more content and able to deal with life on life's terms until now, and it's wonderful. It's a really short story, but there's kind of a couple of things that I picked out of it. So the first thing is, this guy, he didn't hit like a bottom that most people hit. Like some people have to hit like extreme low and bottom before they start seeking help and getting help that they need. Similar to this guy's story, my bottom wasn't really as bad. We did a speaker meeting, or he did a speaker meeting a few weeks ago, and super powerful. This guy like was looking at 30 years in prison, this and that, and I mean that like is super like low bottom, right? And anyway, so people have their different bottoms, and like enough is enough, and then they change their life and they get it together, so that's where I was at. Like I just had just enough to where that was it for me, and I needed to figure out what I'm doing with my life. And so I got into recovery, and then I've been through many drug programs when I was a kid. Growing up, I just thought it was part of being a kid. You struggle and you use and you experiment with your friends, and you get in trouble, like just the way it was. So I thought that was pretty normal, I guess, but turns out that's definitely not a normal childhood. You shouldn't be going to drug programs and stuff. But and then getting his degree in addiction counseling and loving what he's doing in sobriety. So for me, kind of talking about what we were talking about at the beginning here, like confidence levels and self-esteem, right? Like I feel like nobody wants to hear my story. Like my story is kind of lame, and it's what it is, and big deal, he's sober, he's doing something that normal people do anyway, like big whoop, what a big deal, this guy's sober, right? So like I have that like self-esteem. But it's true though, like our stories help other people no matter how small or big they are, and I have to remember that. I have to keep pulling myself back in. And a good example of this where I didn't think anybody wanted to hear my story and I wasn't really having an impact is there was this girl on Facebook, and I unfriended her a while back when I was trying to get sober, because she was posting these stuff and it was just kind of random wild things that didn't make any sense. And so I just couldn't deal with it anymore. I'm like, she wouldn't take my advice. I'd be like, this is what I'm doing to try to get sober, and so I just unfriended her. It wasn't like I was mad at her or anything. I just didn't want to see those posts anymore. And so I unfriended her. And recently I seen, she came up on like, your friend page, and I just looked at her post, and she's been really like in the program and sober for almost a year now. And tells me that I'm like one of the ones that inspired her to get sober, and that she's approaching her year, and just thanked me and things like that. So I had zero idea that I had any impact on this person. And when I unfriended her, I kind of felt shitty about it, because it was like, but it just shows that you do have that power, no matter how small or big your story is, to impact the people around you. So, kind of what we were talking about, Monster, at the beginning is, like what you're going through, you're here like seeking help, man. And whatever you do to help yourself can inspire others to help themselves, right? No matter how small it is. So I don't know, man. I just keep that in mind. That's what I try. I lose sight of it, but man, it's super powerful. To see somebody take your advice and use it, I mean, that's huge for me. Like, so. So with that being said, I'll open it up. Do you guys want to share on that topic, or do you have anything that you want to share on?
Josie goes first.
Why me? Why do I have to go first? I would say To be honest with you, Nate, your story is interesting to hear because it does help, and some of the things you've said is really actually inspiring. And I would say, yeah, the guest speaker the other day was awesome to hear because that's an area that I was in before. And to hear someone else's story from Florida was kind of sweet to hear. And also, Monster, since you've been joining, you've done so much and changed, and I've seen you do even better than you were before. And it's actually really cool to see the growth in some people and then how we've lost some that kind of like fell out from wanting to come, but
Hmm.
still reach out when they need the help, but it seems like they're not there completely yet.
I feel that. I appreciate that too. It's been really hard with therapy. When you have demons like that, they're sort of like ghosts that haunt you, and like the Boondock stereotype. You know, when like Stink Meter's ghost or whatever, they were saying like you can't move on until you make peace with it. It feels like that at times. Like if anything, before I like, I'm sorry, I ramble sometimes and lose track of things, but before I move on, I want to say that your Nate, like your story is probably the most relatable for me because I never got in trouble. I always got lucky and got away with it. Like drinking and driving, I somehow never got pulled over despite like parking, falling asleep, and puking across from a military base. Issues with
Right.
anger management, throwing people down like 15 or 16 steps when I was younger. Because I know my parents didn't have time for me, so they would just drop me off in Bowie and say, like, have fun. And I wouldn't see them from like 7 a.m. all the way till like 7 p.m. So it was just running around doing ignorant shit with other kids in the area. But coming to terms with that has been hard. Like, I know last Friday was talking about repressed anger, repressed hate, and resentment. How it gives me like sadist tendencies, and that's hard to talk about because I don't want to have that level of hate or like love for evil in my heart, and it's hard. Like there are times when I do get angry, I have to put my hands in my pockets because the first thing I want to do is just, I don't know, toss the person out the fourth floor window or whatever, or just hit him
Right.
with something really hard. It's been hard unpacking that, but no, no, man, your story is important. Like the ghost inside, man, no voice unheard or unspoken.
Right. Yeah. No, thanks for that. You know, like I said, it's my self-esteem and the issues that I have still, you know,
Yeah,
5 years into sobriety where it's like I just don't feel like people like want to hear my shit. But yeah, I mean, like I said, you guys like even your everybody's story, you know, I have something to take away
yeah.
from it, you know. It's awesome. So,
No,
and
man.
I put my
Yeah.
background as a little spaceship.
Oh, dude, that's badass. We were doing it for the aliens because of Gathering is coming up.
Yeah.
So it was
That's
like
awesome.
we came up with it as a way to sort of troll Chris when we see him on Wednesday, try to get as many people to do aliens as possible. So when he joins in, it's like, what the fuck?
It's awesome.
Yup, and he
Yeah,
keeps asking if I'm always going to be an alien, and I tell him yes at times because aliens
yeah,
are real.
Right.
yeah, right. Nah, man.
You can be
I
French
appreciate your
fries if
story.
you want. Like when the gathering's over, we can do French fries.
Oh,
Same.
dude, that shit
Oh,
would be
that's a
dope.
good idea.
You know, we can do whatever theme is for the month. So
I
it's gonna be
like
hot as
catfish.
shit. Yeah, French fries is dope. I like how it does the winky eye every now and again.
Yeah, right. A little tongue comes out too.
Yeah, but you know the story though too. Like so, um, you know, I don't know, man. I've thought about maybe doing something like, you know, some sort of counseling and like getting like a certificate or a degree or something.
Hmm.
Because like maybe my story would help somebody, you know, and if I had that degree, it's a little bit more powerful, you know, and
Yeah.
uh, so I don't know, like the speaker we had, he does counseling now, and he got a certificate, and that
Hmm.
was a big achievement for him, and I think that's dope. Like I said though, I don't know how, you know, I still got to get my confidence up, man. Like I don't know, like this last year,
Yeah.
So I'm over 5 years now. I'm like going into my
Yeah.
6th year. And I still have, like, in my last year was the worst. Like, I still have these like issues in sobriety. You're going to run into them too, where you just like, you have like a little bit of anger, like you were saying, you want to throw someone out the window, or you have like self-esteem issues. And that's me
Yeah.
100%. So, I
Yeah.
feel that.
Dude, you should like go talk to people more. I know the only reason I'm starting to make progress is because I started therapy in January, and then like sort of around the time I joined JIR, and
Mm.
Josie and Chris have been like really pushing me to go talk and try different things. Like yeah, man, they're talking like I learned meditation from Stone Huevos. What Chris
Yeah.
has been telling me about the importance of taking days for mindfulness to go do something different.
Yep.
She's also been helping me with like the frustration, like you said, of not belonging in school. Like, damn, they like they put you down and they tell you you're not worthy and shit. But then, like I was telling you, you go to these other schools that are like super fancy, and you talk, and you're like, wow, I actually am that smart. It's not me who's wrong; it's they that's wrong. But you've been
Right.
programmed like that so long, it's hard to break through.
Right.
And yeah, man, the self-esteem stuff, like it
So a
hurts to
lot.
talk about, but dude, even
Wait.
when I was like porta potty training as a kid, like toilet training, they would always yell at me, and that would make like the issues worse. And so I never learned to feel confident even then. And that's like that's really sad to talk about, to
Right.
admit that like that shit happened. And then at some point, I know I'm 26. You start to wonder, I'm so broken. I've been broken so long. Can I even learn to get better? It's hard, man. It is
Yeah.
hard. I remember crying like a baby Friday talking about that. Like, I want to learn to be a normal, self-loving, loving others kind of person.
Right.
But those are genuine fears. You've been
Yeah.
broken and messed up so long. Is it even possible? Can I do it?
Right.
Yeah, man, you're not alone with the self-confidence issues. I really feel that shit. Like, fuck, man. Like, I used to be a model, but I have issues with dating now, feeling like I'm 10 out of 10 ugly and shit. I know
Yeah.
like that's
I
in my
get that.
mind and whatnot, but like it's still hard to realize that it's me and not reality.
Right. So, what, so with my self-esteem and whatnot, like
Yeah.
you're just saying, like when you're in school and people doubt you and they want to like hate on you and whatnot, a lot
Yeah,
of
they
times,
actively tell you
yeah,
you're not worth it, you're dumb and
right,
whatnot. And then you find out that's not true, but it's hard to come to terms with, like you're in denial of it.
right. 99% of the time though, when that happens with me, I use that as like a catalyst, man, and I prove them wrong. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'd say 98% of the time you prove them wrong, man. That doubt that people put on you, like it can
Mm-hmm.
drive you if you let it. You know what I mean? It really can.
Yeah.
So I try to do that. I think every time it's happened to me, I've been able to prove the haters wrong, and I think
Mm-hmm.
that's super important, man. To be able to do that. So those assholes in school or whatever, like prove them wrong,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, for fucking years, man. Like
Yep.
I had to talk about it too. Like even in kindergarten they wanted to kick me out because they said I was rude and distracted and whatnot. But then I got tested, and it turns out I did know it all. I was just bored and understimulated. So my parents had to go to war with the school district to get me into like a special ed school. And I don't know, man. Like you said, it feels like a constant battle for existence. You constantly
Right.
got to fight for survival because people are constantly questioning you. You never learned how to exist in peace.
Right. Yeah.
It's hard.
Yep. And that's where we're at though, like now, right? We're looking for that
Mhm.
help. We're looking at the gratitude. We're trying to get through our lives and live them in a better way, man. That's no way to live
Yeah.
with that in that self
No,
doubt and
man.
stuff, right? Yeah.
Always
So
tense, right? Always stressed out. Always looking for the next fight or paranoid that someone's going to try you
right.
because you've been questioned and put down so much that you almost expect it without any implication.
Yep. No, 100%, man. And like I said, I still feel that like a lot. So. Josie, what say you? You have
Uh, I
you
don't
have
know.
Yeah,
self
Josie.
doubt. Do you have
Yeah,
self
I would
doubt? Do
say
you have
I had a
heaters?
lot of self-doubt, but I've actually been able to overcome it even more lately after visiting my kids and
Nice.
seeing they gave me ideas. Like, and I pushed through the pain to
Hmm.
do things with them. Like, realizing that they're too stuck in technology and need to put the phone down. Like I had to argue with my daughter a little bit. She was like, "All I want to do is play video games with you or play on your phone." And I was like, "No, let's do some side. It's gotta enjoy this."
Right.
Right.
So you're back home now?
I'm
Like,
yeah, I had to come back home to get the cortisone shot done,
oh, that's right. Yeah,
but
how's that? How's
Hmm.
that
talking to
going?
my mom so much more. It's sore, and I decided I want to clean and move around today, which probably wasn't the best idea, but I
Wait, are you
can't
wearing
hold
your
still.
cast? Are you
I'm
wearing
not
your
wearing
arm
shit.
brace?
No, I'm not.
Don't take this the wrong way, but you conceited bitch. You better wear your arm brace. I want your arm to heal up.
Well, it's feeling better after getting the cortisone shot.
Yeah,
It's a little swollen. So I've been icing
that's
it
because
and
it numbs
resting
your
here and
arm.
there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
cortisol numbs your arm, so of course you're not going to feel the pain. But still doesn't mean you want to move it around because it's still injured. You just can't feel it.
No, I can definitely feel it because I slept and
Yeah,
moved things around today, and I was like, "Oh, okay,
yeah,
I feel
that's
the pain."
soreness. Once that shot wears off, Josie, rest in peace to your pain levels.
Well, hopefully, when it wears off, it's done
Yeah,
some work where you won't have the pain. But yeah,
yeah,
yeah, because that's the point, right? It's supposed to like I don't know
yeah,
what it's supposed to do, but hopefully it helps. Is all I'm saying. Because
yeah. No,
yeah, because pain
I
is a
feel you.
bitch too. Because like
Yeah.
then
Yeah,
they want to prescribe you meds and stuff, and it's like that doesn't help.
no, man, it's a slippery slope.
Yep, for sure.
That's how I deal with insomnia, and I'm like
No,
stuck with
I've
the whole
already
pain stuff
argued with
there.
them. That's why I got the
Yeah,
shot because no meds.
Yeah.
yeah. I'm trapped on Ambien right now because of insomnia. You're only supposed to use it as like a temporary, like 2 to 3 months thing. I've been taking it for like 6 years every day.
Oh, geez. Yeah. That's funny though, because before I got sober, they were giving me
Yeah,
medication for sleep, and it's clonazepam, right? And you're only supposed to
yeah,
take that like anxiety medication or whatever it was, like
yeah,
for like a certain period of time, right? And then like three
yeah.
years later, I'm still on it,
What the fuck?
and they still refill it,
Yeah,
and it's like,
fuck off. Stop enabling me. I totally know what you're saying.
right? Yeah, like what the hell?
Because,
So
yeah, you're not, damn, it feels good to hear someone else say it because I'll talk to them and they'll be like, no, you're fine. But then, like, that hangover effect and that dependence on like feeling like I have to have it in order to sleep, like I can't sleep naturally. That's like the textbook definition of addiction. It might not be as destructive, but I would say it is like on that level. Yeah.
and then to like get off of it, you like for me, I had to just kind of white
Yeah.
knuckle my way off of it. I just stopped refilling my prescriptions, and there was a lot
Yeah.
of sleepless nights, but eventually it balanced out, it evened out. um
Yeah.
Exercise and doing all that other shit really does help. Like if you do
Yeah.
enough exercise during the day, you're going to be tired enough at night to sleep, hopefully. And
Dude, damn. You should talk more about fitness. I really love it. And the fact that I haven't come to one of your meetings to relate to you more about fitness drives me nuts. Because I feel that, man.
yeah,
I'm in a weird spot. So I
yeah,
started out of high school fitness on my own, but I was doing strength training and I had bad form, so I got injured.
Yep.
Hence, so they used to give me muscle relaxers and whatnot, and then I couldn't sleep, so I started drinking cough syrup, and then they said stop drinking cough syrup. We'll give you Ambien because it does the same thing. Then during COVID, I got tired of being out of shape and whatnot, so I found a local personal trainer who used to be a professional bodybuilder that was cheaper than LA Fitness. I got down to like 20% body fat and whatnot, and I lost like 115 pounds, but I like ran out of cash. So now it's like, what's the in between? When I did it on my own, I got injured. When I did it with this guy, I made like my wildest dreams come true, but I can't afford the trainer now or the supplements. And when I did it on my own, I got injured. What's the in between that can help me stay active and channel some of that intensity into a positive outlet since both ends are kind of demolished?
Right. So,
Yeah, I only make like 4K a year right now, man. Until this doctor shit kicks off, I'm like kind of desperate.
right. So what I've told Josie and
Hmm.
in the past when we had other meetings and stuff is that uh you could do like anything really. So like you don't
Yeah,
have to do like these intense workouts. You can just literally just go on a walk. Like you do like a half hour to an hour walk,
yeah,
find some hills to walk up, that alone is going to tire you out. That's going to push muscles that you haven't pushed before, and then
yeah.
move on from there, do some shit at home, like sit-ups, push-ups. Body weight
Hmm.
workout is probably the best, some of the best workouts because, you can still hurt yourself if you're not careful, but it's a lot easier than picking up a bunch of heavy weights and hurting your back and then not being able to do anything. So,
Right?
yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because
just
I had the
start
trainer
slow.
showing me and like showing me what to do so I could do it with good form.
Right.
But then you have to do it on your own. And all
Yep. So
right.
what I did is I did, kickboxing, and they showed you form in kickboxing when you're doing it. And I still messed up and injured myself every now and again. But the other thing I did was when I would go to the gym, I would Google workouts, how to
Yeah.
do like a proper, like, because people will do bench presses and they don't do it properly. They fuck their
Yeah.
shoulders up. There's a way to do it. And if you just Google it, like there's free videos. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, I feel you, man. The YouTube has had mixed results. My learning style is like hands on, a little like slightly visual, like 50% visual, 100% hands on, like 20 auditory or some shit.
Right.
So the visual has like mixed results. Sometimes it like clicks really easily. Other times I look at it and I'm just confused.
Right.
But
Yeah.
no, man, you're still thanks for helping me find options because yeah, I'm beefing with my school right now about trying to figure out when the gym is open this summer, and it's always we'll let you know. It's been 2 weeks. Fucking let me know when I pass away. Dumb shit. Like when winter comes is when they'll finally send the email or something. And it's hard not to feel resentment. So it's like a treadmill so I can actually try and progress and count my steps and whatnot, or count the level of intensity is out of play. What's something in between? But you're right, walking, maybe just taking a lap around the loop or something.
Yeah.
Hiking is hard because I have to drive to the trails, but
Yeah.
still. And then, like you said, push ups and set ups. In high school, I was really, really into those. Someone lied to me and told me about, like, oh, I would do like, I started with 10 sit ups, and then every week I would add five, and I got to 90. And it's like, fucking liar. He was like,
Right.
well, if you can
I
beat me, I'll
mean,
give you $100. So I got to like 70, but then it was like too much.
yeah, no, like that's for different
Yeah.
people, and it depends on what you're eating and stuff. Like, I mean,
Right?
you can progress like that, but it's not as easy
It
as some
takes the
people.
right diet, though, right? You got to have like a number of grams of protein to rebuild muscle properly, then carbs for the fuel. Also,
Right,
water, having enough water to constantly keep your body flushing and reabsorbing the protein helps.
right.
But Yeah, I didn't realize that until I met the trainer, and oh, dude, it was so awesome. He was so cheap, and it was like so on budget, but because I'm not there yet, I couldn't afford it for
Right.
like 3 to 4 weeks worth of supplements and training. It was like 600, which wasn't bad considering he was like an IBF pro and he actually knew what he was doing.
Right. Yeah, there's ways to do it on the cheap, but if you're
Yeah.
wanting to go to that next level, like you sometimes do have to pay some people. But
Yeah. One
well,
day there.
Josie, so I am gonna close this up in a few minutes here because I got some shit I gotta do. But yeah, this has been a good meeting, man. I hope
Yeah.
everybody grabbed something out of it.
Yeah.
But before
Fuck
I go, is there
No,
anything?
Nate, thanks for opening up and sharing. I know how hard it is, and then like you said, feeling like your story doesn't matter. But damn, if I could send you that picture, it's literally is like the ghost inside with him like standing shirtless on stage with his arms out, and it says no voice unheard, no voice unspoken. Without you, I wouldn't be here. Without me, you wouldn't be here and have found a way to grow and make your life better. Sort of like that, give and take.
Let
I
me,
appreciate you, man.
let me drop my email in the chat here. Let me stop recording, but I'll put my email in the chat if you're able